Good afternoon, Sergio. Live for Sport TV, man. Danilo spoke recently about the identity. What I ask you, considering what happened last year, it was an unfortunate game that couldn't really get past Liverpool. Did it cross your mind at all to change the team tactically, or to change the identity of the team to be able to work differently, taking the opponent into account? I've heard you constantly ask this question. Oh, Liverpool, will it be revenge? No, there's no question of revenge. It's a game of football. All games have a history to them, different history to them, some different to others. We have to understand that no single result can change the characteristics of our team. What happened last year was last year. End of story. It was one game. We didn't do things that we wanted to do, and the opponent was very clinical in what they did. The attacking side of things of the opponent, there was a game where what happened was happened. No, nothing to do with revenge. We look at Liverpool as a very strong team. In this stadium, they've only drawn 2 games, and that was and their direct rival is City, and then they drew here. So last year they were Champions League finalists. We know all about this strength they have. We know about all these elements, and there is a very big difference related to us. But what we do best is our day-to-day work. Our qualities about what we do every game. The moment, the value of teams, you don't just measure by that one day. You measure about this work. We have a good example in our team, Militao. A few months later, he came to our team. A few months later, he sold on. This competition is excellent because it, really values our players. We're well aware of that. It puts value on our players, and it's not to think about last year. The opportunity that life has given us is brilliant. People who work seriously, and we have to work very seriously, very dedicated to have these wonderful challenges in the Champions League. We're amongst the 8 best teams in Europe and the world. I think the best football is here in Europe. We have to enjoy responsibly this challenge we have tomorrow. No Herrera, no Pepe. Yeah, we do. They're here. They're here next door. They're here in the stadium. How important is that you're missing the captain, or how important is it that they're present for the group dynamics? They asked me to come. Herrera and Pepe in the present, they asked to come. That's the team spirit we have. The team spirit we have. They sit down. They're very close to the team. Obviously, it's very important. 2 players with so much experience. 2, team captains. Good afternoon, Sergio. Antonio Hayes. Continuing to talk about Pepe, he gave an interview to UEFA that he really wants to win his 4th Champions League title in his career. Is your team well balanced in that sense? Is it ready for it? Pepe's very ambitious. We're also ambitious. I think there's a funny story. The lad that wanted to learn so much came close to a wise man, and he really wanted to be wise as well, but it took a while, and he was in a rush to become wise, and this rush to become wise held him back because he was always looking at the ends, and he wasn't thinking about the means. He was just thinking about the final result. We need to think about now what we need to do tomorrow. That is most important. We need to think about that. Then whatever we whatever we reap depends what we do in these two games, these two quarter-final games, one step at a time. Good afternoon, Sergio. That story that you just told, Sergio, I looked at me. Do you want to? Don't you want to just think about the final? Obviously, we have our goals, we have our objectives, and we have our dreams. I'm not saying I don't think about the final, but I think it's important to focus on the moment, and the moment is the game tomorrow. It's important that tomorrow we understand the competition we're in, what we have in front of us, so we can prepare for it as best as possible. And at the end of the game, we come out with a positive result. And that would mean, success would be, qualifying for the semi-finals in the second leg. How are you? You're live to Latin America. I'd like to ask you something that Klopp said, sat in the same place a little bit earlier. He said that when you were going to the Dragao in the last game, he thought, Klopp said, I don't want to return here too soon. What did you think when Porto were drawn against Liverpool? And what type of game do you imagine will take place tomorrow? I heard what Klopp said earlier. We have an excellent media department. He gave a press conference, and it was a high-level press conference he gave. I don't think anybody wanted to draw Liverpool. We'll say that from FC Porto. A bit different. The sensation that he had about the game at the Dragao. He's such a gentleman. He, tried to sort of sweeten our pain or lessen our pain. To what it's like to lose in the Champions League the way we lost. He was just being really nice. He was just being nice. That was it. Then what was the second question? What type of game do you envisage for tomorrow? I don't envisage. I think it's possible to win here tomorrow. We've prepared for the game to win. That's what we're going to work towards. We need to work very hard. That's what we want from this game. There'll be different moments in the game. Sometimes we'll be without the ball. On other occasions, there'll be difficult transitions we have to be very balanced from an attacking sense, and other occasions will be attacking. So that's when these defence, attack, these traditions in our part, this balance, there'll be different moments in the game. The important thing is, in these moments, we understand what we have to do. And if we understand what we have to do, in accordance with the identity of our team. Once again, good afternoon. You're missing a lot of players, as you said, and Alex Telles we won't know until the last minute. Obviously, that's going to influence your tactics, your strategy. So my question is this one of those games that you're going to be up all night thinking about your first team? Or are you going to rest because you have it all in your mind? Or are you anxious as to what team you'll be able to call up? No? Tonight, if I'll be thinking about who's playing, no. It's all coaches. The way I see it, you prepare for the games. Things are practically ready. We'll know more whether it's possible to count on Alex Telles or not. So it might change one player, but everything is already defined. Everything's prepared. So if everyone feels unwell overnight, including me, that could happen. We never know. 2 questions to close. You talked about the 5-0 last year. I didn't talk about the 5-0 last year. You just keep asking me about it. And is you in a good mood? We've asked you numerous times, you don't like losing. Nobody likes losing. But Sergio says you feel awful. So this game against Liverpool, that's another expression. I don't like losing. So against Liverpool specifically, is it the type of game that gets into your head as a coach? Nobody likes losing in the final stages of the Champions League, particularly first leg at home, which was the case. But that's in the past. We don't need to be obsessing over that. Negative thoughts in the past. We need to think about now, the moment. That's what's important for me. But it's in my head. Obviously, I see the history of my life. And yet, that result does mark, but with lots of other very positive victories results here as well. Hernandez, Fox Sports. Question in Spanish, but I think we understand each other. I'd like to remind you about Barcelona. They're the only teams that could win the League, Cup and Champions League. So, how is the Portuguese championships? Obviously, the humble's going to be about step by step. This is important for our team. So, game by game and a lot of hard work. I think that's the secret. So, we're fighting for the Portuguese Championship. We're in the final of the Portuguese Cup, and we're now here in this situation. Quarterfinals of the Champions League. It's the fruit of a lot of work and dedication. I'm really happy to be working here and to represent such a special club. I haven't had the opportunity to win so much as a player. And now, as a manager, I've won a little bit. And I hope to win more this year and the coming years. Good evening, everybody.